Hi everybody, I'm Susan from Allegheny Roots, and in today's video we are going to be answering the second part of the question that we are often asked at our events, and that question is, why Allegheny Roots when people see our name? And so we're going to be answering that today. We answered the Allegheny part in part 1 of this video, which I will put a link to in the description box. And today we're going to be answering, oh dang it, I forgot to put it on. I was doing so good too. And today we're going to be answering the second part of that. So the second half of our name, the roots part. So we're going to be talking about that in our video today. So let's get into it. So if you didn't have a chance to watch that first video, why Allegheny Roots Part 1, like I said, I will put a link to that video in the description box. But just a quick overview of that video is West Virginia is part of the Allegheny Mountain and Allegheny Plateau region, and our mom and her parents and their parents before them, and so on and so forth, are from West Virginia. So that kind of takes care of part of the roots part as well, because, you know, that's where our ancestry is, our family comes from. But to really dive into the roots part of our name, we're talking about my grandma. And my grandma was an incredibly talented lady, and we are going to be showing some of her work on this channel and telling you some of the stories behind those works, because a story comes with each piece, including the quilt you see behind me here. That comes with its own story. But we wanted you to know a little bit about the woman herself before we began sharing pieces of her work and the stories that come with those pieces. My grandma was born January 20th, 1909 to her parents, George and Sarah Jane. And she was born in Clay County, West Virginia. Her name was Ella. And when she was growing up, she went to school through the 5th grade. And then she had to stay home and begin helping more around the house and helping with her younger siblings, because she was the second oldest of 8 children, and she was the oldest daughter. So as she was growing up, her family moved to Nicholas County, West Virginia. And when they moved there, my grandfather, who was actually from Gilmer County in West Virginia, he was working in a logging camp in Nicholas County. And we don't know the whole story. We don't really know the story of how they met. I've asked my mom. She's not really sure what the story is there. But I do know that she met him, and they got married on March 5th, 1924. So just to help you with some of the math there really quick, so you don't have to do that yourself unless you're excellent at math, which I am not. But yes, my grandma was 15 years old when she married my grandpa, and he was 10 years older than her. So he was 25 and she was 15. Now remember, this is a very different time that we're talking about. We're talking about the early to mid 1920s. And so life was just different then. And then in 1925, my grandma had her oldest child. They eventually moved back to Gilmer County, where my grandpa was from. And my grandpa was a farmer, and they lived in rural West Virginia. They did not have in the 1920s, right? So they didn't have electricity. They didn't have indoor plumbing. My grandma, the very first thing they purchased to take up housekeeping, so they said, was a Singer sewing machine, and it was a pedal sewing machine, just like this one. And so when they got married, like I said, there was no electricity. She did all of her cooking on a wood burning stove, an oven, similar to this one. And, she had to fire that thing up 3 times a day to feed her family. And everything they needed, they pretty much had on the farm. They took their food from the farm. She was a gardener. She didn't just cook and clean and sew beautiful clothing for her children and blankets and just all these things. I mean, she was multi-talented. She had to be, though, right? She had to help provide for her family. So, she had a beautiful garden. She kept that garden all the way into her 80s. She was still going across the creek because her garden was across the road and across the creek where their barn was, and that's where she did her gardening. So she just was a remarkable woman, a hard worker, and just incredibly talented. And because of her talents and the what she instilled in us in wanting to learn how to sew, learn how to crochet, learn how to create, we began creating things, and we needed an outlet for that. And so Allegheny Roots was born in 2018 as a nod to our grandma. Our grandma's not with us any longer. She passed away in July of 1997 when I was 19 years old. But I know that she would be really encouraging of what we're doing. And I hope that even though this is a short introduction about her, that we can do her justice. And I'm really excited as we go further to share more about her with you as we look into some of the pieces that she made and the stories behind those things. So please be looking for those videos coming soon as well. And we are going to be asking our mom for some of those stories to share with you. Probably I won't be able to get my mom on camera, but she's a pretty remarkable lady herself. So that is why we are called Allegheny Roots, because our family comes from West Virginia, and our grandma, the crafting thing that we are doing is rooted in all of the sewing and crafting and things that our grandma made. And where she had to make them out of necessity, for us it's just a hobby. But it's an important hobby to us because she was important to us. She's still important to us, even though she's no longer with us. And we are just happy to be carrying on doing things that she loved, because even though it was necessary, she really did like doing it. So thank you for joining us on this journey. We can't wait to share more with you. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to our grandma Ella, and there's more stuff to show you and more stories to come. So we hope that we'll see you back here soon. So thank you everybody for watching. Please, if you haven't yet, give us just hit the subscribe button, give us a like, and we will be bringing more content your way. Thank you so much, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.